start with our disclaimer, I wanted to let everybody know we are not financial advisors, we are not attorneys, we are not CPAs. So anything that you hear here today is informational only. If we don't have the answer to something, we will let you know. Carrie is joining us. He has graciously agreed to be on our webinar today. Carrie is our compliance director, and if he doesn't know the answer, then we definitely have to do more research. We are very lucky to have him. Carrie has been with Horizon Trust for how long?
Almost 9 years.
Almost 9 years. And then do you want to go into your industry knowledge though? Because I know you've been doing it a lot longer than 9 years.
Yeah, I've been doing it since 2010, so over 15 years. But yeah, I started at the bottom. I was doing customer service. I worked my way into a lot of the processing jobs, inbound and outbound. But it's nice to be here. Thank you for having me, and I'm hoping I can answer all these questions well. I'll do my best.
Absolutely. I know you I know you'll do good. Because there are some questions that I'm like, I'm gonna have to ask Carrie and then I'll get back to you. So this is great that we get to have you on this webinar. Greg, as you all know, hosts these and he will be on a little later. So we'll go ahead and wait. We're not going to wait for him. We're going to do questions and answers. But when he comes on, he'll do a couple of updates and then we'll just take it from there. So a couple of updates that I wanted to go over before we open the questions and answers is that our contribution deadline for taxes is coming up. So April 15th, if you are doing your taxes, that's the last day that you can do your contributions. That being said, we do have a processing deadline on here. So Carrie, what is the last day that they can do a contribution so that we can get it properly allocated for the year of 2025?
As long as it's electronically received by the 15th. I do know that I think there's an issue with the mailing system coming up, and I don't remember off the top of my head what it exactly is, but I don't believe that it is as post dated for checks. I believe that it does have to be received by before the 15th in our office. So the earlier the better, obviously, whenever you're sending those in. Electronic is better, even though you might have a fee, but if you're late, then that might be the best option. So I don't know the specifics, but I did want to bring it up. So if you're mailing a check, send it as soon as possible.
Yeah, and we're already tomorrow is the first, so we have 15 days. We're down to the wire. Obviously, if you haven't done your taxes, that's something that you're doing in the next 15 days, unless you're getting an extension. So, working with your CPA and seeing what your with your contribution is going to be for either your 401k, your IRA, your Roth IRA, your SEP IRA, any of the IRAs or accounts that we have here. Definitely keep in mind that the contribution limit for 2025 is coming up. So if you have any questions regarding that, it is a great time to ask them right now and we can go over it. Okay, so with that being said, let's go ahead and open it up for questions. Looks like we have, we'll go ahead and wait a little bit. Carrie, I will ask you a question while we're waiting for everybody to jump on. Somebody last webinar was asking, and we didn't have a chance to kind of cover it, but I wanted to ask it during this webinar because this is questions and answers. So the question was, what is self-dealing and why can I not do it?
So self-dealing is when you personally get involved with a transaction with your qualified plan. So the IRS is very specific on keeping your personal transactions or funds separate from your qualified funds. So if you are personally involved or personally benefit, like if you try to sell something to yourself or buy from your IRA or anything like that, that is a self-dealing prohibited transaction. So when you're personally selling something, they want to keep that separated because you can kind of manipulate the transaction. You can sell something from your IRA to yourself at below market value, so you can kind of gain a beneficial interest either in your account or yourself personally. So that they want you to kind of stay away from that, and that would definitely cause problems for your accounts.
Yeah. We had a client last week or the week before that asked one of our representatives. They wanted to do a transfer from Fidelity, $100,000 over to Horizon Trust so that they could invest it into real estate. So originally we said absolutely we can do that, and they're like, yeah, I'm using that 100,000 as a down payment for a house that I'm going to live in. And we said, we can absolutely not do that. That is not something that we can do. And they were asking why. That is considered not only self-dealing, but you can't live in any property that you invest in with your IRA. And we didn't make up the rules. The IRA gives us these rules, and we just kind of guide you through not doing anything that is prohibited. So what she said is, okay, well then I'll just do a private money loan. I'll lend it to my husband, and my husband can use that. Can they do that, Carrie?
Obviously not. I'm sure you went over that, but
I did.
yeah. Beside yourself, there are other disqualified people, since your spouse is definitely one. And we get loophole questions all the time. People want to find out, if I do it this way, will it work? I think it's the end goal when you're trying to figure out a transaction. If it's a problem, if it's going directly to you, or if you're trying to do it around in a certain way, you're going to end up in the same problem.
Yeah. And what I had to tell her, because I saw the vision and I told her, I was like, besides prohibited transactions, there is something called prohibited parties that you cannot invest in. And the prohibited parties are anybody in your linear heritage. So it'll be husbands first, then your parents, your grandparents, your kids, your grandkids, anywhere on this side. So siblings, cousins, neighbors, friends, all of those you can invest at, you can lend to, but anybody on your linear heritage, you cannot. So ultimately, we had to go over other options that she could do in investments. She ended up going into a syndication deal and parking her money there. So she still did the self directing, which is totally fine, but she had to find another way to be able to do the deal that she was trying to do, which was not really a deal. It was trying to buy a house. So we definitely want to guide them in that, but that is not what self directing is. Self directing is for retirement purposes. We want to keep everything clean. You're never going to live in that property. If you buy a rental property in at the IRA, you can't go into the rental property at all. So even to vacation, those kind of things you can't do. Um, so that was a good example of two ways that she could not do something, which is okay. We're okay telling you you can't do something. That's what we're here for. That's why we say, hey, this is not for everybody. Greg stresses that a lot. This is not for everybody, and if this isn't the right kind of account, we're not going to put you in that kind of account, and we're going to guide you and tell you, hey, don't do that. Whether you do it or not, that's we can't. We are self-directed, and if you direct us to do something and we don't see any red flags to begin with, and you didn't do your due diligence or didn't ask us the right questions, then we can't avoid it. So that's why we tell you all the time on the phone, ask questions. If you have a question about an investment, call us and we'll have a detailed conversation with you to see that everything is okay and that we're able to do that kind of conversation or that kind of investment. Okay, it looks like we have some questions in the chat coming in. We have Brandon that is asking, what would the implications be if I could purchase a single family home as an investment now, but in a couple of years possibly need to move into the property? Current intent is investment. Carrie.
So going back to your situation, I would tell people that, it's an option down the road. You can purchase a property and use it as your retirement investment, have a renter in it, for a certain amount of time. Um, and some people have done that I've talked to. They want to live in it eventually because they like the house, or they want to move to a different area. So eventually, if that's your final plan, you can distribute it out of the IRA or out of the account, at the current market value, not the purchase price, but whenever that takes place down the road. And you can live in it after that. That will be your property. But it is a taxable event at that time. It is a distribution out of the account. So if you have a rental and you make some money on it in your retirement plan and you distribute it, taxes paid, and you can live there if you want, or even rent it out more. Like, it's still your property at that point, so you can do with it what you want. But it does have to come out of the account before you can do that.
How does it work when it is in a Roth account and they're of age where they can go ahead and take that as a distribution? At that point, how do the taxes work for that property?
So if you purchase a property in your Roth account, it is growing as, tax free investments. So the distribution would still have to be at market value. So at the time of distribution, we would need to get a valuation on the property. But if you're crossing all the T's and marking off all the responsibilities for that account, that type of account, the 5 years, the of age, it can be distributed tax free. So,
Yeah.
and some
That
people
is,
do that for long term or short term, but as long as they follow those guidelines, you can have a tax free house at that
yeah.
point.
Yeah. And that's the power of self-directing. So that's one way that you can do it, Brandon. Wes is asking, sometimes I have cash in my SDIRA waiting for a specific investment. How could I get into short-term T bills, CDs, or interest-bearing accounts while waiting? I,
So we don't have anything short-term public. Like obviously we don't offer anything. We do have a platform that we have a relationship with. It's called Axos. It's basically just public trading, and it is available to move from here to there. It will show in your account here that you have an Axos account at a certain value, and then you can move it back after you've had it for a certain amount of time, and you want to maybe make another self-directed investment. But that is available, so you don't have to actually move it out of Horizon, uh, to a different IRA. We just have a different sub account basically with Axos.
Yeah, a lot of our people take advantage of the Axels platform now that it's available. So what they do is it's still self-directed, but it's a self-directed stock account or fund account. So you can go in there, you can make your own exchanges or put it into the stock market while you're waiting for an investment. Once you have that investment, the selling of that fund or that stock is going to be 24 hours. So you can go ahead and sell it within 24 hours, move it over to Horizon Trust, and then you have it for your next investment. So it's a really good way to park money, have it ready for self-directing, and that way you're not going through the 5 to 10 business days of processing from Fidelity or whatever the other custodian is over to Horizon, and you're still making money on that account. So it's a great question. I have Dorothy who is asking, do you think my account is too small to open an account with you guys? I have $20,000.
I don't think there's any account really that's too small. Obviously, it depends on your personal finances and your other accounts if you want to diversify. But there are plenty of investments from our investment corner that is a place where our clients have told us what they've invested into that you can go look at. And I don't think there's a lot of ones that have minimums, and there's plenty of options that you have even for self-directing.
Absolutely. Yeah. We always say it's more about the investment than the actual amount that you have. If you have an investment that you've identified that is ready with a $20,000 investment or initial capital investment, then it's not too little. You have to do your due diligence, make sure that you have something that you are interested in and that you believe in, and then you transfer the funds over. Or you can put it into the stock market, just like we talked about Axos, if you wanted to see it grow and self-direct it that way. A lot of accounts like Fidelity, Charles Schwab, the big ones will say, hey, we do self directing as well. What they mean in that is they don't do self directing in alternative investments. They mean that you don't have to go to a financial advisor and actually direct your funds. You can do it yourself. So technically, they're right. But with a custodian like ours, you can do self directing in the stock market, self directing in alternative investments, and make sure that you're taking full control of your account. Okay, let's go with Elena. Elena, I have both qualified TSP and IRAs and non-qualified accounts, CDs. I am looking at tax-free investments to shift from taxable interest income, CDs. What type of investments would you recommend?
Well, unfortunately, we can't recommend investments. As much we get that question a lot, and they want to make sure that, or they want to ask us what we feel they should invest in. And we are a strictly passive custodian, so we can offer what our clients have looked into, what they've invested into, and we can give you kind of facts, but we can't really advise as what investments you should really actually do. That's going to be a tax professional. You should really talk to your CPA or if you have a financial advisor.
Yes, that's correct. We have an investment corner that we have Danny on our team that can walk you through the investment corner options and kind of go over what the clients have done. We also have a lot of educational webinars where we have guests from the investment corner and outside the investment corner, and they don't present deals, but they present things that they have done in the past for clients as well. And whether you choose to talk to them and go over what they're offering, then we give you guys their information, and you're more than welcome to do your due diligence and see if that's something that you're interested in. So we offer a lot of education based on what we've seen and what other clients have done, but we are not investment advisors, and we're not going to tell you, hey, you should go into this investment. So it's important that you guys do your own due diligence. But to answer your question, Elena, with your accounts, you can definitely set up an IRA here at Horizon Trust, transfer your TSP and your IRAs into one account. You can combine all of them as long as you're not active still in the military or whatever government job you're in or you were in for the TSP. Then when they're here, you can choose an investment, and then we would put you into that investment in alternative. So you can definitely do that. And non-qualified accounts, we do have non-qualified accounts as well that you can transfer over and start directing as well. Katie's asking, I have an Axel question. How do I have money from my solo 401k? How do I move money from my solo 401k to Axos?
Oh, it's actually really simple. We have one of our representatives here who can work with you. Her name is Alex. She will work you through the process. There's an application that you need to sign just to open a sub account there. And then we have basically a direction of investment, like you were making an investment that you would submit with information filled out that would move whatever liquid cash you want over there. And then they have a good welcome service there. They have people on hand to give you online access, make sure that you're comfortable with, excuse me, getting logged in, and you're able to self-direct kind of on that platform as well. So it's pretty simple, and we would be able to walk you through that.
Yeah. Yeah, the movement of money from because we have that relationship with Axos is super simple, and we would guide you through the whole thing. So, money in and money out, we can do it within the 24 hours that you let us know that you want to do that, as long as the money's there. And when you want to move it out of Axos, as long as the money is liquidated, because you can't be invested into anything. So that does take the 24 hours to liquidate any stocks or bonds that you're invested into, and then we can move it over to Horizon Trust. We have Farad that is asking, can I do direct transfers to or from a self-directed IRA to a regular custodial IRA? Any restrictions? I think he's asking a regular IRA to one of our IRAs.
Yeah, there's no difference. They're both traditional or Roth IRAs or whatever type you have, could be SEP or simple. There's no difference in the IRA type. It's the custodial difference. We are self-directed, meaning we don't offer any investments, we don't advise, we stay strictly passive. The other custodians for those types of IRAs would possibly have advisors or specific things you can or cannot invest into, like in the market, but there's no difference in the account type. So you can move those between self-directed and traditional IRAs. Those that would be fine to do.
Absolutely. I have Dorothy that's asking, who can I invest in futures in Axos? I actually don't know the answer to that. Do you know if they let you invest in futures?
I don't believe so, but I would have to double check on that.
Yeah, we will double check and let you know, Dorothy. I know you're one of our longtime clients. Somebody's asking, what is the investment corner? So, since we have a lot of questions on the investment corner, we've been talking about it. What I'm going to do is I am going to share my screen, and I am going to go into the investment corner on our website. So on our website, you would go to horizontrust.com, and let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. All right. So this is horizontrust.com. And when you go to, you can't see it? Oh, can you guys see it? Got it. It says share. You are sharing screen in the backstage. How do I get it to the front stage? Enter. Oh, because I'm on my laptop. I see what is happening. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. Mm, mm. Can you put me in to the front stage? It won't let me minimize. Oh, I see it. The host is moving you. Okay. I think this is important so that we can show you what the investment corner looks like. And then if you have any questions, you can always ask us during this webinar. So you have it here. So this is our website, Horizon Trust. You're going to go to education. You're going to go to featured resources, and then you would go to the investment corner. Now, the investment corner is password protected. The reason for that is because we want to make sure that we have clients or people that have been talking to us about investments that they're interested in before we give them this this password. But if you call our concierge line, they will give you that password and they'll be able to go over any questions that you have on it. So the investment corner basically has different alternative asset types that other clients have invested into and that we've done our due diligence on. That doesn't mean that we are telling you to invest in these. We're just telling you that we've done the due diligence to make sure that there's no crazy red flags. And we do have clients that have invested into them and they are very happy with their experience. So you do your own kind of scrolling and you go through. We have on the stock market, Axos that we talked about. We also have other options for the stock market. Axos is not the only option that accepts self-directed IRAs. It is just the one that we work with the most and we have a really close relationship with. And it is one that our clients really love. You have precious metals. A lot of people are investing into precious metals in the last year and a half to 2 years. Gold has been up, and I, I, I thought it went down though, right, Carrie? I think it went down in the last
Yeah, I
couple
think
months, but
everything
it
is
was,
honestly
yeah, it was
lately.
very high at one point. We have oil and gas, non-recourse lenders. Do you want to go over how it works with non-recourse lending and an IRA, how to purchase a property and why they need a non-recourse lender?
Absolutely. That is always a good thing to go over. Even if you're not interested in real estate, you should really know if you wanted to get into that, what loans are available. Within a qualified plan, it is required to have a non-recourse loan, meaning the only recourse or the only available asset that a lender could go after would be the property itself. So a usual loan that you would go to any mortgage or any bank that you would get is just a regular recourse loan. And at that point, if you default on the loan, they could go after personal assets, on also the property as well, but personal assets that you own, just to make sure they get their money back. But a non-recourse loan is the property alone. It is required within a qualified plan to have that type of loan. And that way, if there is a problem, there is a default, they can take the property as the collateral, and then they wouldn't be able to go after either the rest of the account if there's other assets or funds, or even your personal funds or assets. So it is a little more risky for them. So I believe on a lot of those loans, the interest rates are a little higher, the down payments are a little higher, but just make sure that if you are interested in real estate, that's something that you would need to know if you are looking to not buy it outright, but also finance it.
Yeah. So going back to my client that wanted to use it as a down payment for her house, that $100,000, she could use it as a down payment along with a non-recourse loan so that she can buy a property. She just couldn't live in it. So that's where a non-recourse loan would be really helpful because a property nowadays is on average, depending on where you're at, but on average it's going to be about 200 to 300,000 if you have a lower market. So she can definitely invest into a property with a non-recourse lender, but she would have to go and apply for the non-recourse lending loan and go through the process of that. So in the investment corner, you can find non-recourse lending options that you can do your due diligence and talk to them about to see if that's something that you would be interested in.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. And a lot of major banks or mortgage companies would not have that available. So that's why we have that resource there.
Yes, that's a great point. That if you go to like a Wells Fargo or a Bank of America, they won't really offer it. They know what it is. Obviously, they're a huge bank, but they don't really offer that kind. So most of the lenders that we have are smaller banks that are willing to take that kind of risk and know how to structure the loan so that it's not in your name, it's in the IRA name. So it's important that you have a non-recourse lending option that you can partner up with, or your IRA can partner up with, not you, your IRA. Okay, so I have Dorothy. Who can I talk to if I have an investment question? So we have somebody on our team that is an investment coordinator. His name is Danny, and he will be the one that you can ask any investment questions to. If you're at the point where you've already identified an investment or you want to talk to somebody about the investment option that you have and make sure that everything is okay, you would schedule an appointment with Danny. Also, our concierge team, which is a full team that can answer your questions from 7 in the morning to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, that specific time. You can call into our concierge line and they can go ahead and answer any questions that you have. If they don't have the answers, then they're directed to go to the specific department and get somebody either on the phone or to call you back or to email you back with any answers that you might need. But definitely call our concierge line and they'll be able to answer questions for you, Dorothy. Elena is saying generic types. I must have missed a question from her.
Might
If
have
you
been
have a,
was that the futures one?
oh, okay, then
Yeah,
no,
we'll
that
have
was
to figure that out.
Dorothy.
Was that somebody else? Oh.
Yeah. But Alina, if you have a question, definitely put it on there. I must have missed where you have a follow-up question from it. Wes is asking, where's the information on Axels located? I went over it in the investment corner. It's under stock market. So it's the first option that we have on the stock market. And you have a direct link to go into Axos to get more information, or there's a brochure. But if you wanted to go ahead and move money, just call our concierge line and we'll be able to help you with that. Nicoletta is asking, any idea how we can convert a regular IRA into a Roth when good amount of losses are present? Compliance director, go ahead. This has been a question that has been asked a lot in the last probably 2, 3 months. So it's definitely something that's a buzz on either social media or with investment companies. So yeah, we've been very careful on answering that. So I'll let our compliance director answer.
It is just fine to convert whether it is a loss on investment or for some reason it is devalued. Whether that means that for some reason that market value is not high at this point, or if there's certain aspects of the investment that make it that available to devalue. And that can get kind of complicated, but we do require a fair market valuation for every conversion to a Roth. That is required by the IRS. So we do have to have that in order to convert at that market value at the time of conversion. But if you work with a CPA or a professional in the field of that investment, and they can provide detailed information as to why it's lower than it was, or what's going on with the investment and to why the value is like that, and they can sign off on it, then we have no problem accepting that.
Yeah. Absolutely. It definitely goes through the compliance department when we get something like that. And Carrie's team will do a thorough due diligence check, make sure that everything is okay. And then we'll go ahead and do the conversion. Veronica is saying, I'm turning 65 on Saturday. Well, happy birthday, Veronica. I was later of my job. I think it was layoff. I was laid off of my job in 2023. However, my 401k is still with the financial company. Can I remove and put it into a high yield account without tax penalty? So that is a yes. If you are no longer employed with that employer and there's a 401k that's still sitting with their sponsor, with their custodian, then what we would do is we would set up an IRA here and we would transfer the 401k over to the IRA. And then at that point, if you wanted to put it into a high yield, we don't have any high yield savings accounts here, but like we've been talking about, you can put it into Axos and you can grow, put it into a mutual fund there, and you can watch it grow that way. Or if you have an investment that you're interested in from the investment corner or any other investment, we can definitely help you get that parked somewhere. Penny is asking, is your IRA account in Horizon in an LLC or can it be? Is our IRA? I would have to research, Penny, your specific account. Can it? Yes, it can. So do you do you want to go over what checkbook LLCs are, Carrie, and how they work?
Sure, yeah. Um, I think a lot of people can get confused as to what they are and what they're for. They don't really understand why they would need it for any specific reason. Technically, you don't need it, but a lot of people want to have it. It gives people a little more freedom, even more than just a self-directed IRA, to have control of their funds. And I like to explain it as a vehicle for investing. So what happens is you have an LLC that is created for specifically for your plan that has the IRA or 401k as 100% member most of the time. It could be a multi-member if there was multiple people involved, but that's a different conversation. But the idea is to have your IRA as the owner of the LLC and you as the manager, and you're able to have checkbook control with that. You're able to sign off for or for your investments with that, and basically have control of it. You don't have to go to Horizon Trust if you want to make an investment or if you need to pay a bill out of it or receive rent checks if you have a rental property. So it allows a little bit more freedom, even with a self-directed account, to have an LLC. You'll have a bank account titled in the name of the LLC. It works the same as a qualified plan. You're not able to do anything extra on top of it. You have to maintain the rules of a qualified plan in the same way. You can't do any self-dealing. You can't, invest with a prohibited party, anything like that. But it does give you that kind of leeway to be in control of it and not have to work with us as a company whenever you need something out of the account.
Yeah. And it's something that we set up all the time for clients. So if you're wondering if you have a checkbook LLC, I think you wouldn't, because you would know that you set up an LLC and that you set up a bank account for it and that we transferred the funds over. So if you're wondering, I think you don't have a checkbook LLC, and it's something that we can set up right away. So you can call your IRA specialist, whoever you're working with, and they'll be able to walk you through how to get one set up. Somebody's asking, could you share this presentation? All of our webinars are under our YouTube channel. I'll have Alicia put it on there. It is Greg's YouTube channel. So every other Tuesday we do this. We do it with different guests. We do it with Greg by himself, with me by myself, with people people like Carrie. So all of our presentations are on that YouTube channel. So you can go ahead and go through all of the library of webinars that we have. William is asking, does this apply to digital assets taking leverage? Is there a smart contract a custodian of the asset? I don't understand that question, William. That was a lot of questions. If you could condense it a little bit based on what we were talking about, I think it was to something that I was talking about or Carrie was answering. So if you want to ask us again, we'll definitely answer that. Janet said, what is the difference between a qualified fund and a not qualified fund? And she put dumb question, but that is a great question. We just had a scenario this week where somebody didn't know the difference, and it was a taxable event because a non-qualified account is taxable. So, Carrie, do you want to go over the scenario and how they can know if they have a qualified or non-qualified account?
I guess the easiest way for 95% of your accounts is if you have a custodian for it or a plan through your employer. But qualified most of the time is a tax deferred status to grow wells, before you pay taxes. Now, obviously, they're Roth accounts. Those grow as well, tax free, but most of the time you would need a custodian. There are certain 401ks, solo Ks where you don't need that, but a custodian is there to make sure it remains qualified, to make sure investments are titled correctly, to make sure that the reporting is done accurately. But a non-qual account basically is your personal money, whether it's invested or not. It's still a non-qualified account. You can remove it from that account without having to pay taxes on it. Now, depending on the investment, there could be taxes involved, but it is your funds there. It is your money. You can move it around, liquidate, and take things out as you please.
Mhm. Yes. And when you sell something in a non-qual account, it is taxable. So that's very, very important. In a qualified account, you can sell and then transfer it to another qualified account, which is, I think, where people get a little bit confused. So that's a big difference, and it makes a big difference. One of our clients had a taxable event that she didn't realize, and we were able to help her and understand it, but it was after the fact. So if she would have been able to realize that it was a non-qual account, then she wouldn't have had that, or she would have made the choice if she did want to do a taxable event. Wes is asking, would you recommend a checkbook LLC for purchasing tax liens because of time constraints sometimes present for the purchase? So tax liens is one of the investments that people choose the checkbook LLC the most from, because it is time constrained. So with a tax lien, you have to buy it that same day or within 24 hours. You can't wait. And when you come to do a direction of investment, we are the fastest in the industry. Our time is 24 to 48 hours from the time we receive the supporting documents and the direction of investment, as long as everything is good and is in good order and we don't have any other questions, we'll go ahead and send the money out. But with tax liens, that's something that you can't wait 24 to 48 hours. So if you have a checkbook LLC, you can make the investment in the name of the checkbook LLC, send the wire or the ACH to whatever county or wherever the tax lien is being purchased from. I think it's the county, right, Carrie?
Should be the county, yeah.
Yeah. So the checkbook LLC would be your best option. And you don't have to wait for us to check anything, as long as you know that everything is going to stay in the checkbook LLC, and then it'll be for the benefit of your IRA. You can do that investment. Dorothy is asking, any options where I can gain some interest on my available cash? We'll answer again because she just put it on there.
Um, we don't, as a company, we don't. But again, we have our Horizon investment corner on our website. It is including Axos, so that's always a great option for people who don't know what they want to do right now and they do have some available cash, or they're waiting for another investment to pay off so that they can do a different investment with the total. The Axos is a great option, and you have control of it, and you're able to liquidate it, like uh, Claudia said, within I think 24 to 48 hours to bring it back for an investment opportunity. So it's I think that would be probably your best option if you're waiting or you don't have anything kind of ready to go right now.
Perfect. Somebody is asking, how are we different from equity trust?
I'd say the biggest difference is size. Equity Trust is an enormous company,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of nuances, I think, and you can elaborate. I think this is more your side, but to me, it's personal attention and speed. We're probably the fastest in the industry. Those are the biggest things I think that we grow a lot of clientele that way, but I'll leave that one to you.
Yeah. Yeah, so we are a boutique custodian. So we're not going to be as big as equity. We're not going to have the client flow that equity does. But that means that you have personalized attention. You have an IRA specialist that you'll work with to get onboarded. You'll have the concierge team that answers the phone from 7 to 4 at any time that you have any questions. We have investment coordinators that will help you through and guide you through an investment and how to get the investment completed. We have a transfers department, which is a big difference, where they will actually get on the phone with your resigning custodian and you on the phone and transfer the funds over. That's one of the biggest hiccups and bottlenecks that we see with other custodians, that they want the client to do it themselves because it's self-directed. So what we were able to do is we were able to identify that as something that we can alleviate for our clients. So now we have a full liquidations and transfers department that will help you guide you through the resigning custodian process and actually do follow-ups to make sure that your money is transferred as soon as possible. Our average transfer time is going to be 5 to 10 business days, and that is the fastest in the industry. It used to be 31 days. So we have come a long way, and that would be something that we're very different from Equity and any other custodian company, I would say. Another thing that we do is we have an all-inclusive fee schedule. So we do not do any transactional fees as opposed to most custodians. They're going to charge you by asset. They're going to charge you quarterly. They're going to charge you every transaction, wire fees, ACH fees. Um, what else? Due diligence fees. There's all sorts of things that they'll charge you for. Research fees I've seen. So we have an all-inclusive annual fee that is going to be based on your market size, and that's going to be the only thing that you'll incur throughout the year. Companies, other custodians have fees based on transactions. We have fees based on market value. So those are the biggest I think I covered them all. I
Yeah,
think those are the
I would
biggest
say so.
differences between us, and not only Equity. I mean, Equity is just the one that came up here, but that's the biggest difference between us and other custodians. Let's see. I have Melissa saying, if I have some idle money in my account and I want to invest it, we already covered that. Let's see. Katie is saying, I can vouch for how easy Horizon made it to transition from an old 401k with Fidelity over to Solo K. Very smooth process. Thanks, Katie. We love that. We definitely are very happy to hear that. Sin is asking, similar to a previous question, I have a 401k with a previous employer and would like to convert to IRA. Please explain further how I use the IRA account to create the LLC for the plan, or do I have that confused? Is that all covered under a trust? That's a lot of questions. So what we'll do is we'll go over what the process is to transfer the funds. So you have a previous custodian. I mean, you have a previous 401k with a previous employer. So what we'll do is we'll get a call with you and an IRA specialist, and we will set up the account for the IRA. And then you're going to go with the transfers department to transfer the funds from your previous 401k over to your new IRA. And then from there, if you wanted to set up, it looks like you want to set up a checkbook LLC, then you would set up a checkbook LLC. You would set up a bank account in the name of the LLC. And once that is completed and we have your funds from your previous custodian, we're going to transfer those funds over to the checkbook LLC. At that point, you will be ready to start investing. The whole time is going to be about 5 to 10 business days. As long as we are getting you on the phone, we're getting everything transferred as soon as possible. We get the checkbook LLC set up within 24 to 48 hours. So as long as everything is moving with your help, obviously, then we can get everything done within 5 to 10 business days. Anything to add, Carrie? I think.
We also, I think, provide help setting up the LLC, right?
Yes. Yeah. We have a third party. We are not an entity formation company, so we have a third party that sets up the entities for our clients. So we would send you over to our entity formation company, Genesis. They would set up the LLC. They'll guide you through setting up the checkbook bank account, and then we'll have our investment coordinator transfer the funds from Horizon Trust into the LLC. William is asking, I saw an article as of March 31st where U.S. Department of Labor has proposed opening 401k plans to crypto. Does HTC have any future plans to accommodate clients or provide custodian services? That is a great question. Carrie, do you want to go into how crypto works with our accounts?
Well, the good news is that since we aren't an employer plan, we have solo 401ks, which are already self-directed, which means you can invest in crypto right now if you wanted to with a solo 401k plan or even an IRA. The articles you're probably seeing is changes that are being presented to employer 401ks for less traditional assets, and that's outside of crypto as well. That could be any kind of possibly private placements or promissory notes, precious metals, things like that. So it is a wide variety. It is, I think, still being determined whether that's going to be available. But it is mostly in employer plans because they don't want people to self-direct in there. It is a lot more liability, a lot more problems, and it has to be across the board. It has to be agreed upon by all legislation. So Right now, it is available here, and if you are available to move your old 401k, whether can have an in-service distribution or it's your previous employer, you can move it here to an IRA or another solo 401k and invest in crypto already. So that's available.
Yeah, if you have an account with us already, you can set up you in the investment corner, there's several options for crypto, and you just pick one and you set up your account with them, and then we move over the IRA money into that. So yeah, that what you
Correct.
were
Yeah, that is a
reading,
different platform as well. So we
it
can't
is.
hold it directly here, but we do have a lot of, these options that can hold things that we may not be able to.
Yes, that is correct. Dorothy is asking, do you guys help me prepare my investment documents and paperwork? That is a great question.
We do not prepare them now. Like
We
Claudia
don't.
said, we have a third-party company that will help create an LLC, which is a pretty basic template document that we have helped them prepare as a template. But investment documentation does need to be not prepared, but most of the time it will be already created for you, depending on the investment type. We will review it though. We will go over it, make sure that there's no red flags on titling, on management payments or anything like that, depending on the investments. So if there's any issues that we see, we will discuss that with you to make sure that we can either get them revised or get some additional information on any questions we have regarding that. And our outbound team is good at discussing that with you. They'll reach out as soon as possible if we get those in. We do not create them. That's something that we don't do.
Yes. We don't create them, but we do work with you or the investment company or both. I mean, you have to be involved as well, obviously. And we will let them know what we need, what is missing, where the titling is, what the address you need to put. It's specific, depending on the investment and depending on what the supporting documents are. So we will guide you through that and help you. So we won't let you just do it by yourself. We don't prepare it, but we guide you. So it's very important. Um, Melissa's asking, do you have any partnerships with oil, gas, energy companies? Which ones? So, oil, gas, and energy companies are one of the options on the investment corner. We had a presentation done by his name is Jace Graham, and he is one of the operators and owners of an oil and gas company in Texas. It was a while ago. I think you have to go back maybe a year to look at the presentation. But if you were interested in learning about the presentation, or if you just want to go into our investment corner and click on the website and request a consultation from Jason and his team, you can definitely do that. Oil and gas is definitely something that is very popular right now. We had our investment coordinator go to an oil and gas convention. I didn't know they had those, but it was in Houston, Texas, and he said there was 1,000 people there just to learn about oil and gas. So I know it's huge. It's a huge investment opportunity and people really like it. So, yes, we do have some options in the investment corner you can go and learn about, Melissa. Somebody's asking my 401k with my employer, deferred compensation, Voya, told me to have self-directed IRA. I need to open only with Charles Schwab. I called Charles Schwab. They cannot invest in real estate. What is your comment about this?
Did you say previous employer or current employer?
It says with my employer, so I think it's current, which is why they probably told her that it has to be Charles Schwab. Maybe they changed custodians as the employer. So that's what
Yeah, my guess is that it's an option within the plan that your company provides. It's if you wanted to do some self-directing, they would provide you with a custodian. They'd provide you with an advisor maybe at Charles Schwab. But if the employer plan doesn't allow for certain investments, but they allow you to go to Schwab to do that, then that's something that's all encompassed in that plan. So I don't know if you'd be able to do that to like a self-directed company like Horizon. What you can do is ask if you can have an in-service distribution, which means you're still employed, but they allow you to take money out of your 401k as long as it's going to rolling over to another qualified plan. But that is all kind of just dependent on the company that you work for and what their plan entails.
yes, and there is a certain age where they can do an in-service rollover. What is the age?
I think it all depends on the plan.
Oh, it does. I thought it.
I've seen up to 50 or not below 50, and I've seen some where you have to be of distribution age, so over 59 and a half.
Oh. Okay, yeah. Yeah, most of the when we're on a phone call with anybody, we ask your age, and a lot of people are like, why are you asking? It's because if you do have a current employer, if you're 59 and a half, chances are you can't do an in-service rollover. You still have to go to your custodian for that specific employer-sponsored plan. But for the most part, if you're 59 and a half, you can transfer it over. You can't do a full transfer for from what we've seen, but they would give you the restrictions and they would give you what you can transfer and what is allowed for that plan. So, and if you're not employed with that company, is that if that's what you meant, you're not employed, then you can do a rollover
You
with
should
no
be able to, yeah,
restriction.
move that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So just give us a call and we'll be able to get that done. I don't see any other questions. So if we have any last minute questions, you can put it in the chat or in the questions and answers. If not, we will go ahead and wrap up. Is there anything? Do you want to go over fair market values really quick while we're waiting on any last questions?
Can, yeah.
Yeah.
There are fair market values. We're required to report every year, our IRAs and the values that we have. We sent out an email, I think a few months ago, just requesting that from everybody. I don't know how many people actually got it, or went to spam. There's always trouble doing that by email, but want to know what the values changed for your account over the year. We're only required to do that once a year, but it is something that we hope that everyone can accomplish and get with your investment advisor or the company you invested with to see if they can get an update to you. If it hasn't changed, you don't need to do anything. If it's the same value, then you can go ahead and disregard our request, and we'll keep it as it is.
Yes. Perfect. Somebody's asking, I didn't catch the beginning of the webinar. When will there be a next webinar? We host these webinars every other Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So the next webinar will be in 2 weeks from today, same time. We also have a special webinar on Wednesday, April, is it 8th or 9th? What is next Wednesday?
Um,
8th. So Wednesday,
yeah.
April 8th, with one of our biggest supporters, Braden Shaw. You guys probably know his name. You've seen his name. He is a social media influencer on Instagram. He has 1.4 million followers. You guys are welcome to join. We'll send out emails so that you can join that webinar. That's going to be next Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. It'll be Greg, myself, and Braden going over just things about growing your net worth and strategies on what you can invest. So that's always something that people love to join. That'll be next Wednesday. We'll take one more question and then we'll wrap it up. Sounds good?
Okie doke.
Okay. So Wes is asking, do investments like promissory notes require annual current value? That's a great question.
That depends on the type of note. We have all kinds. We have some that are amortized. So if you get an amortization schedule, we try to follow that based on the payments coming in, or if there's an amortization breakdown on the check that we receive, the check stub. And if we follow those, and usually we can try to keep up to date with that. So if it's current, then we would have the same value as it should be. Sometimes there's certain interest-bearing notes only that the interest can add up. We can revise it at that point. So you would want to submit a valuation report. If there's an error, possibly, we do make those, unfortunately. But if there's an error in our posting and the principal value amounts that it should be is not showing, then you can provide a valuation there too and tell us, this is actually following the schedule and this is what it should be. So it just depends on the type of note and how it's paid back.
Awesome. So I'm going to answer one more question because I think this is important. Somebody asked, very random, can a person do a partial rollover of their current 401k to an SDIRA? If it is a previous employer, we already went over it. But yes, you can do partial rollovers or partial transfers. A lot of people have an investment that they're interested in that is $100,000, and that's all they want to dabble in alternative investments. So you can go ahead and open an account with a custodian like us, transfer $100,000, and do your investment, and just to be able to diversify. So you have your regular IRA or 401k wherever it's at, and then you have alternative investments as well. You don't have to do a full rollover or put everything together. That's the beauty of diversifying. So if you have that option, or if you have an investment that you're looking into that doesn't require a full rollover, it's your money. We will do as you direct us. So it's a great question. All right, guys, that is the end of our webinar. Thank you so much for joining. If you wanted to go ahead and schedule an appointment, if you are a client already, you have a link there to schedule an appointment with our concierge team. If you're not a client, you have a link to schedule with our IRA specialist team. So if you want to talk to Carrie, go ahead and email. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to give his email. He is he's knee deep in fair market values. I'm not going to do that to him. But if you have a question that is not answered here and that we need our director of compliance to be involved in, that's what the leadership team is for. And we'll go to him. We'll get the answer. We'll get him on the phone if he needs to. But very rarely do we have those situations. So definitely reach out to us. And if you have any other questions, just let us know. Bye, Carrie. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. There's lots more great content for you to learn and enjoy and apply to. And so anyways, click on the link below and listen to more videos or set an appointment with us. We look forward to hearing from you and also helping you.